Good morning, good morning.
Hello, people.
Good morning. Something yawning. Do you remember that?
No, I have no idea what you're talking
Good
about.
morning, good morning. My name is Borat.
I don't know what. I think you just made that up. I don't remember anything about yawning and morning and. Anyway.
Then is yawning.
Yawning is contagious. Whenever you see somebody yawn, you can't stop yawning yourself, can you? Oh, don't stop.
I'll try
We'll
and
just be
pass it on.
Spending the whole podcast just yawning.
Well, we were. Nice,
Okay,
very nice.
Right, stop talking about yawning.
I wasn't talking about yawning. I was giving my Borat impression.
Are we going to say anything interesting to our listeners this week?
Okay, fine. I'll ask you a question. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a policeman solving crimes. No. That's a very good question. And to which I don't really know the answer. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do when I grow up. As you know, I worked in the university sector, but I don't think it was really... It was obviously a conscious decision at one level, but it's not as though I grew up, during my teens thinking, I definitely want to work in a university. I definitely want to be an academic. I didn't really plan it at all. I went to university and I
stayed there.
I kind of stayed there, really, partly because I couldn't think of anything else better to do. I mean, I think that's a bit of a limp excuse, but I started in the third year. Then, as of now, very often you do a research dissertation in your third year, and I did that, and I thought, I really, really enjoyed doing this. I really enjoy
fun
doing. Yeah, I actually, that was the best part of my degree as far as I was concerned.
Maybe you're one of the few people that actually really enjoyed that.
And so I thought, I'd quite like to do more of this. So. Then there was an opportunity to go on and do a PhD, which was kind of like more of the same. So
surely you have to do your master's before your PhD.
In those days, not necessarily. No, I'm pretty much you do now.
So you did your PhD at age 20?
Well, 21, I think. But
that's really young.
Yeah, well,
that's not allowed. I think for your PhD, you need to have some real life experience.
Well, come on. I've got 20. No, I had to have experience.
I thought you have to do your master's in order to do a PhD.
You do now, pretty much. But when I was your age, that wasn't necessarily the case. A lot of people were allowed to go on and do a PhD straight after their undergraduate degree, of which I was one. And so I did that, and
just kept doing it.
And just kept on doing it. Before I had finished my PhD, in fact, quite a bit before I'd finished my PhD, I was offered a full-time job. So I then did that, and it
still not answering my question though. I said, what did you want to be? Like as a kid, I feel like, what did you dream?
Okay, well, when I was probably about 15 or 16, actually, I wanted to be an artist. You know that. I'm sure I've told you that before.
Yeah.
And so I spent a lot of time painting, and I did A-level art when I was quite young. I just liked the idea. And I think it wasn't anything to do with talent. I don't think I actually had a lot of talent as a painter.
Agree to disagree. I think you're quite good.
But
you just don't believe in yourself.
What I was seduced by was the kind of lifestyle, this bohemian artist lifestyle. I think what I wanted to do is have that lifestyle.
Have nude models modelling for you. Drinking and being a bizarre person. Cutting your ear off.
Well, I'm not sure about any of those things, but I quite like the lifestyle. I like, being. I like the idea of being eccentric and dressing a little weird and experimenting with those things. Actually, I wasn't that interested in nude life models. In fact, I've never ever painted or drawn in front of a live model.
Yeah. Have you drawn humans?
No, I'm really not very good.
You're
at
more of a
humans.
landscapey.
I'm much more of a kind of interiors landscapey.
I can't really draw people either.
Probably because I haven't got I probably didn't have the patience. That's what I said. That's what I kind of meant in that I'm not really that skilled as an artist. I was more attracted to the lifestyle.
I think you are. I think you just don't give yourself enough credit.
Well, and possibly I didn't work at it enough, and so I gave that up. And perhaps if I'd gone to art college, who knows? Life could have been entirely different. But I didn't.
Because I keep trying to persuade you to paint with me, but you won't.
No, well, that's because there's nowhere to paint really here.
No, you're just coming up with excuses.
No, I'm not coming up with excuses.
First time was we don't have the right material, and I said, fine, we'll buy it.
You've got to have A, the right materials. You've got to have B, the right place. You've got to have C, the right attitude. And unless you get all of those things in alignment, I don't think it's going to work, personally. I'm not one of these kind of people who can just... I think I've got a friend who goes out on his bike with his sketch pad and makes little drawings in the countryside every now and again, and that's great. But I have to do it pretty much 100% or not at all.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think you're scared because you haven't done it in years that it won't be good.
Well,
so you're not giving yourself the time to be bad at it and get back into it.
No, you're absolutely
it's like
right.
me expecting that. I did about 6 years of ballet, 7, 8, I don't remember now. And I tried to do a bit again. And I felt so embarrassed because I was like, this I could have done in 3 minutes years ago. And now it's like my brain can't communicate with my body. Like I see it, but I can't do it. But I'm like, who cares? Why do I have to be embarrassed? I can do it if I enjoy it. Even though I might not be quite as good at it. And
undoubtedly, part of you is right. But also, it's about...
I'm not going to judge you.
It's not a question about being judged. I want the time to devote to it.
Okay, so would you do it again? Would you consider...
I might do. When I feel I'm in the right frame of mind and I create the time to do it. And that's not something I've done. But yeah, I might very much go back to painting, but I don't want other things to get in the way. So I mean, if I do it, I want to be able to devote myself 100% for a good few days in order to do it.
All right.
And it's partly because a lot of people think that, painting is just like fun. It's not. It's hard work. Anything like that is hard work. And therefore, I want to create the time, to teach myself again
the technique
with some of the techniques and so on and so forth. It's not something I want to just dabble with, for an hour a day.
It's a bit like singing. You have to learn the technique.
Well, there we go. Okay, right, fine, thank you.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just feel like, from my perspective, I just think it's something you clearly enjoyed. And you're good at it.
But I got frustrated with it because I wasn't as good as I wanted to be. And maybe I just
I think you judged. I think because you told me a story that you had your work displayed somewhere.
Yeah.
And there was other people that were like twice your age. And you were like, I'm just not that good.
Yeah.
I'm not as good as them. Yeah, but you were 16 and they were twice your age.
At least that and more.
And more. And you were displayed with them. Like, that shows something. If anything, you can take that as encouragement and be like, hey, I'm so good. I'm displayed with these people. Mm-hmm. As opposed to being like, oh, I'm not good. Like, it's just like me. Yes, I know Beyonce is better than me, but there's no point me giving up just because she's better than me. There's space for everyone.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
But I think it's something
that's true,
very
but at the
difficult
end
to
of the
come
day,
to terms with.
It wasn't doing something for me, if that makes sense.
Okay. That makes...
And so I walked away from it, and then got into other stuff. Simple as that, really.
As long as you don't regret it, that's my kind of thing.
Oh God, no! I don't regret it at all.
Then that's fine.
Don't regret it at all. Have you ever thought of me as a frustrated artist? Don't answer that question. Before that, my mother always used to think when I was younger still, probably, I don't know, the ages of 12, 13, that I would end up owning an antique shop.
That's it. Yeah, I can see that. Because you like collecting old crap.
Yeah. and did so even at that early age. I mean,
Oh, really?
Oh, God, yeah. I know lots of the stuff that you might see around you.
You've had...
There's stuff that I collected when I was 12, 13 and what have you. I used to go to loads of junk shops and jumble sales and what have you.
But I'm not sure you'd enjoy having a shop.
No, God, no.
Also, I don't think... I feel like if
you
you...
have to deal with customers and be nice to them to start.
I don't think that's the only thing. I think you'd collect all your stuff very preciously and then you wouldn't give it to anyone.
Do I mean magpie jackdaw or whatever?
I don't know.
One of those birds.
So you'd be like, no.
No, go away. You're not allowed
So
to come into my shop and buy things. God, no. You're going to come in and worship them.
You'd value everything very expensive so no one would actually buy it.
Yeah. I'm not sure I would have made much of a living.
A £500 doorknob.
That's the whole point. Yeah, I like to collect. There's a difference between collecting and dealing.
Have you watched Gilmore Girls? No.
I'm not sure I have. No,
I don't think you have. There's a character there, Mrs. Kim, a Korean lady, and she has an antique shop, and she's very, not rude, but, very straight.
Right.
Like, how much for this? 500. That's too expensive. Okay, 500. And then, I don't remember, and then they're like, will you throw in the shipping? She's like, no, of course not. She's very, like, abrupt and straight and, like, hype. And she's like, you break, you buy. That's how kind of, and her room, and the store is, like, in her house. So you kind of, like, have to walk through, and it's, like, piles of stuff. So people break stuff because they can't move. She's like, you break, you buy. You break, you buy.
Yeah.
So that would have been you.
It would have indeed been me. So I haven't fulfilled any of these possibilities.
You did sell... What did you sell recently on Facebook Marketplace? You've been selling a few things.
Oh, they weren't antique.
But none of your antiques.
No.
But I think, would you enjoy valuing stuff?
Yeah, I'd quite like, actually.
I think actually you could. I
quite like going round junk shops, whatever you want to call them.
I think you would be the one to collect the stuff.
Yeah.
And bring them to the shop, but not the one in the shop, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'd be the...
But you'd have to try to not get attached.
What I quite like the idea of is if somebody wanted... let's say a wonderful antique mirror
to look for it
in a certain place. I'd like to be the sourcer, if that's
yeah. So when I get a nice flat, then
you can pay me to...
in London, you'll want to go with me to find stuff.
No. You can employ me to do that for you.
Or I can just pay for the item.
Yeah, or you could just go online yourself. I mean, this is the problem, is that now you can go online. People don't need those people.
Yeah, but for antique stuff, though, you still kind of need to do the digging.
And
I think there's people that do that, though, and they have to have the connections of, like, oh, I think I saw something in that shop, like, to know where to go.
So, so I'm a failed artist, and I don't know, a closet antique buyer that never really kind of came off. So what about you?
I wanted to be a singer,
You wanted to be. That sounds as though...
and then I wanted to be a vet until we did chemistry and physics at school. I was fine with biology, actually.
Basically, you like stroking animals, not cutting them up.
Yeah. So, and I remember very specifically, I was going somewhere and I walked past a vet and I looked in and they were doing surgery. And I was just like, I just couldn't do that. You know, seeing the animal cut open. I was like, I can't. No, thank you. Whereas I feel like, yes, I wanted to be a vet until I did chemistry at school, and I was just like, do you know what? I can't be arsed with this.
Because you just didn't like chemistry and stuff.
I like the experiments.
But is it chemistry or biology, presumably more? I don't know.
Well, I think you have to... Well, I realise to get to veterinary school, you have to have good grades in all of the sciences.
Vets are incredibly well qualified. In
Exactly.
Terms of,
So I was kind of okay with biology, but then with chemistry, I struggled after a certain point. So I was just like, But I enjoy the experiments. That's the thing. I feel like I understand stuff practically quite easily.
Hang on a minute. I bought you a chemistry set.
Yeah. We tried to do some...
Yeah, about 8 years later. You didn't use it at all at the time.
That's because I needed adult supervision. That's exactly why we didn't use it, because we never had the time to use it. So we used it now. And still failed. Actually, the ones that you just kind of put stuff in and saw the tube kind of liquid change colour worked.
Yeah, I think that's
kind of the first ones, the elementary ones. But then we tried to make crystals.
That didn't really work, did it?
We haven't had... I don't think I want to give up until I actually make a crystal.
I just don't see the point.
Same with physics. I get it, but I also don't. So I think I just didn't enjoy the science lessons as much. And then when I realised that to be a vet, you needed to really, really get the sciences and have...
I was top at the class at sciences. I was top at physics. I was top at...
physics?
Maths, yeah.
Ugh.
I just really didn't like them. I could do it fine.
You said you were top of the class?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you did physics, did they give you the... not equations, do you know what I mean?
Well, you had that in maths. I was top of the class in maths as well.
No, I mean, in physics there's like the kind of standard rule equation. So then the exercise would give you this is this, this is this.
And things like that.
Yeah. Were you given them? Because we had to memorize them.
Yeah, you had to memorize them.
Because I found out that here, kids nowadays don't memorize most of them, whereas in Greece we had to memorize everything. Yeah, and that's where it pissed me off.
Different when I was at school.
Because I was just like, I'm not going to memorize 10 rules and 10 and blah. Ugh. I think that's what really put me off, to be honest.
But that's also why I found it very easy.
I don't like memorizing stuff for the sake of memorizing stuff. I'd also get that with ancient Greek. One of my teachers, he'd give us tests, and one of the times would be like grammar, and then the next time would be like interpret the text. Interpret the text, 10 out of 10, whatever it is, top marks. Grammar, 5, 3, 2.
1.
And he'd come and before we were given our marks, he'd say, okay, I'm allowing everyone to retake the worst test, to kind of raise your marks. And he'd come to me and be like, please retake this. And I'd be like, no. He's like, it's so stupid because you're getting top marks and then the worst marks and then top marks and then the worst marks. Why? And I was like, because I hate memorizing stuff. I don't see the point of memorizing it for the sake of memorizing it. And if I did, I'd probably just write it I'd probably just cheat basically on stuff that I had to memorize a lot of.
Mm.
Whereas
Well-
like interpreting stuff, like I'm fine with remembering. There's a difference of kind of remembering, like for example in history, kind of remembering the story and maybe memorizing a few dates very specifically, but it's more remembering, not memorizing, to kind of just repeat. I feel like I don't like pointlessly memorizing stuff.
Right. So that's why you didn't become a vet.
Yeah, because I didn't want to. Yeah.
I think it was actually more straightforward. You just didn't actually like the idea of cutting up animals.
Yeah, I think I'd like to work in like a shelter or RSPCA type of thing. Or actually, I want to have my own shelter in Greece because we have a stray animal problem. So I'd like to create one.
Bet you do.
So I'd like to create an RSPCA sector in Greece.
Is there not an RSPCA
No,
in Greece?
no. It's only like local kind of NGOs with no funds.
Oh,
So it's basically someone who bought a piece of land and are trying to do that job, but there isn't a big kind of national
so it's
company.
not a national organisation.
No. And that's what I'd like to do.
Hmm.
So once I make money as a pop star...
That suggests it's a cultural thing. It's that people just can't be bothered.
I don't know. I feel like the problem just got really out of hand really quick. If that makes sense.
And there's stray dogs and cats everywhere in Greece.
Yeah, but I think the problem just kind of escalated very quickly because people didn't... what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Spay? Spay?
Oh, you mean they didn't have their doggies?
Snips?
Yeah. Well, basically, it's a
Spayed?
Well, but you don't have that with stray dogs, do you?
Well, the
Unless
stray
people
dog must have belonged to someone, and then the problem is then they haven't
Well,
been
why?
spayed and let go, and then they multiply.
Why would it have been? No, but the dogs are copulating in the wild, and sorry, why?
So you think they were wild to begin with?
Well, I don't know. There must be. There's so many of them that I assume that.
Well, anyway, I think the problem is they're multiplying. That's the whole problem.
They will.
Yeah. And also, I think with the economic crisis, people, if their dog has puppies, throw them out.
Mm.
So I think, yeah. Anyway, that's I'd like to do.
Right.
I feel like I have loads of things I'd like to do. So I think the point is, become pop musician, have like really hit songs, maybe write a good Christmas song to have.
A good Christmas song as opposed to all the multiple bad Christmas songs that we have.
Because as we've talked, actually it wasn't on the pod, but we were talking about how Christmas songs are a very good source of income.
Yeah, and it's April, so you should start writing
it, yeah.
Now for next Christmas.
And then I'll have money to do all these philanthropic things I want to do.
Well, after you've looked after your father.
Yeah. Make you an art studio.
Yeah, that's right. So how did you end up wanting to do music? Just because you couldn't become a vet, so you thought, oh, I better do music instead?
No, I think I wanted to do both of the things, actually. I think I've always wanted to do music, and then I'm sure someone discouraged me, as a kid. They're like, oh, yeah, how are you going to make it, blah, blah, blah. So then, as I grew up, as I went to high school, I said, oh, I'm going to do psychology.
Yeah, I remember you talking about
and then
psychology.
My plan was to connect it with music therapy. So then relate singing with that. And then as the time got closer, I was like, you know what? I like psychology, but I just don't know. I think if I go to uni, I should do something I'm going to enjoy more than this.
Well, I remember us having that discussion
Because I like psychology, but again, I didn't like the memorizing part.
when you were also having to choose. Duh. How do you learn scales then?
I think it's different parts of the brain. I don't like. But here's the thing: I remember lyrics.
You remember lyrics like ridiculously. I mean, all you have to do is listen to a song once, and you
I
remember the
remember it.
lyrics years and years.
Exactly,
and years
which is, I think it's just different parts of the brain.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I really like psychology, and I still read about it, and I still remember cases and stuff, and I still find it very interesting, and the theories and everything. And I still might go back to it. I think music therapy, but I don't know. Oh.
But your mother, you realise this, and I don't think I'm saying anything out of turn, but she was, for example, was very unkeen on you doing music as a career.
Well, I don't remember specifically, but that's what I mean. I think a lot of people are very doubtful. So then I became doubtful and kind of let it go because I was like, oh, that's like a fever dream. Like, it's not a serious career, which means that people must have told me this. And then I believed it. So then I said, okay, well, what's stable? Psychology is stable.
And your mother was very worried that, if you study music at university, you'll never get a job. And what are you going to do?
I think that's what everyone told me.
And all of this, like, well,
yes,
why can't you have music
I don't think
as a
it was.
And
can I speak?
Yes,
I know what you're saying, but I don't think it was mum specifically. I think it was people telling this to mum, and then mum saying it to me, and then
I'm just telling you what she told me.
I think it was a general worry, so I don't think she never specifically said to me, no, don't do it. But I think I could pick up that everyone was very hesitant because obviously the job stability in Greece is very difficult. So everyone was just like, so what are you going to do then? It's a useless degree. You're not going to do anything with it.
Well, I actually argued on your behalf. I said you should be allowed to follow your heart.
Your heart. And I think I'm quite proud of myself for actually doing it, if I'm being quite honest, because I think it took a lot of effort for me to, because then all of a sudden I was like, no, I'm doing music, I'm not doing psychology. So then I had to study really hard to get my harmony degree, get my
I know. That was
theory degree.
That was part of the deal of you making that choice.
Yeah, like I'd spend all my break times like writing harmony exercises. I'd have voice lessons like 2 times a week or whatever. I think I worked quite hard to do it. And I think I'm very proud of myself for actually doing the degree in that and not just succumbing to the kind of, oh, it's not financially stable, it's not a good career choice, oh, no one thinks I can do it. Like, I did it.
Well, you've done the degree, you've now got
to keep going.
To keep on going.
I haven't quite reached a point to be like, ha! Proved you wrong. Look at me, I'm making tons of money.
You haven't opened your donkey factory. Sorry, you haven't opened your donkey sanctuary yet.
No.
In Greece.
But yeah, I think that's the kind of problem with the arts. I think a lot of people, because it is a confidence thing, and I think at a young age sometimes it's difficult to have confidence in yourself. So if no one else has confidence in you, then a lot of people give it up because the kind of idea is like, well, what are the chances of you making it? What are the chances of you being that good? Like, it's not a stable career, and all of this kind of stuff.
I don't think it's also necessarily totally about talent either. I think a lot of it's about opportunity rather than talent. What I mean by that is that you get the feeling that, again, I don't know anything about the music industry, but I get the feeling it's a bit like an iceberg, where there are lots of people who are active in music in one form or another, but it's only the tip of the iceberg you ever see. It's only the tip that's ever popular, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. And I think it does really change from, and I don't want to sound rude, but I do believe that in some of the arts, it is very much about who your parents are, how much money you have, how you can buy yourself into this kind of circle. Not always, but I do think it is opportunities, maybe being there at the right time at the.
It's certainly having the opportunity, and part of that is, as you say, supporters, whether it be parents or relatives or friends or whatever, having the right education, having the right background, but also making the most of the opportunity.
And I think it's having the confidence.
You've got to sell yourself. You've got to really push yourself out, and that's where I think it's difficult, particularly for a lot of young people, because they don't necessarily know how to start. And of course, the whole thing has completely and utterly changed from when I was your age, when I actually roaded for a band for a short while. I say roaded, I would help them set up and set down after gigs and stuff. But the point is that in order to be successful then, you started playing. You were playing pubs, you then started playing small clubs, you would then look for booking, and after you had actually been playing for quite a while, you might get a record deal.
Yeah.
And somebody might sign you up on a label. So you're looking for your first big break, then you might get an album out. Whereas now, well, your case in point, you don't need to be discovered. You don't need to be found in quite the same way. You can actually release your own music in the hope that it will get picked up.
Yeah. I don't know. I think confidence is a big thing of what I'm learning, of like selling yourself and being sure of yourself and not cutting yourself short, not being the one that's stopping you. So you kind of have to ignore if you don't have a support system, then you have to be your own support system. And so I think also where it's difficult for you
is that you're doing it by yourself. You're a singer-songwriter. You compose, you sing, you do everything yourself pretty much. Whereas the musical people I knew when I was your age, they were all part of a band, basically. They were a group of 4
and you
or
get
5
the support
people.
anytime you feel doubt. Then
and they all, they almost lived together the whole time. They wrote together, they played together, they rehearsed together, and they went on stage together.
Yeah.
So.
But do you remember? This a few years ago. We went to a gallery in Chelsea.
Oh yeah.
And this is where the concept of I don't think we should say his name. I don't remember his name anyway. But he did this kind of exhibition, which in my opinion was mediocre.
You're talking about a well-known artist who
I
will
know.
go nameless.
He will remain nameless. I kind of liked the concept, but I just didn't think... I don't know. And his parents are very well off. Was that not the case? That he's from a very good family?
Yes.
And I thought the only reason he's booked a very good gallery in Chelsea is because of he has the finances to do so.
He was part of a smart Chelsea set. They also... there was a link to a famous pop band as well, which will also remain nameless.
Well, but that's what I mean. He had all these connections and resources, and he had mediocre art in a very good gallery, and that's a massive step forward.
I think a number of people might say it's not mediocre, but the point you're making is well made, and that is he could promote himself in a way because he had a network.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
fine, maybe
is that not true in music
the interpretation of art is up to whoever. So maybe I thought it was mediocre, but someone else thought it was genius. But personally, I was just like, I think you're here because of your connections rather than the.
But is that not true in so many walks of life?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it is very much about opportunities and having that.
But so much of employment works that way.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
No, that's what I think sometimes in the arts it can feel about, and whether that's why parents or relatives maybe get a bit worried is when they don't have that kind of, they can't help you in that kind of way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it makes
And
sense.
I feel like in the arts it's difficult. It's not like, oh, just go and study business because we have a shop, so then you can take the shop and you'll be financially stable. You'll take over the family business, if that makes sense. Whereas I feel like with the arts, sometimes parents feel like they can't help if they're not in the industry because they're like, I don't know how to help you. I don't have the connections. I don't have the...
Yeah, but I don't think that's true of just the arts. A number of people don't follow in their parents' footsteps, or the vast majority of people do not have parents who can necessarily support them either financially or through finding jobs, opportunities, you name it.
I think in Greece it's quite a cultural thing that you do follow your parents' footsteps, which is why I think it was such a big thing that I didn't. Not just me. I think if I think about a lot of my friends, a lot of them follow in their parents' footsteps. If their family has a business, you do something related.
You're also particularly talking, you had, shall we say, a middle class education, and therefore you went to school with a lot of people whose parents had businesses. Had you gone to a very different, less privileged school, then your view might be different.
But I still think it is very much a cultural thing that you do. You kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking crap. So yeah, I'm quite proud of myself for standing up for young me and doing a music degree, regardless. I wanted to go on to X Factor or something when I was about 10.
Really? You never told me that.
Yes, I did. I very specifically remember this.
I don't.
I very specifically, maybe it wasn't you, maybe it was your partner at the time, and I said, I want to go and do it. And she said, fine, write a song tomorrow. And I wrote a song.
Really?
I very specifically remember writing a song.
I don't remember any of this.
Maybe you weren't there. And then I never went to X Factor. See, that's disheartening. As a child.
Maybe you should have had the conversation with me and I would have helped to promote you.
Well, anyway. It's all set up anyway. Maybe I should go on X Factor. Or like The Voice. There's so many of those things now. Britain's Got Talent. America's Got Talent.
Yeah. I don't know. I think all of that is actually not so much about talent at all, but...
no, it's about persona, having a nice sad story that people are going to enjoy.
Yeah. And having a certain look.
Yeah. No, some of them are very talented, not to discredit, but I do think, you have the sappy story, you have something.
You've got to have everything to go together.
Yeah. Someone told me that now, I don't know which show this was for, they invited them. They were a band and they said, we want you to come. They said, you won't come out first, you'll come out third. Like it was all planned out. They kind of told them. Really? Yeah.
Changing the subject slightly, do they have, well, obviously not Britain's Got Talent, but do they have a similar thing in Greece?
Oh, yeah. I think it's gone global. They do have it in Greece. I actually know someone who's on The Voice, I think. I don't know.
So there's a Greek The Voice.
Oh, yeah. I think they're everywhere now. I think they're global. But is it one big franchise then?
Oh, probably. Someone's made a huge amount of money out of it.
Is it Simon Cowell?
Well, definitely he's made an awful lot of money. He's made
an awful lot of money. Yeah. Although his face looks a bit funny now. He's had Botox because he's trying to look the same as he did before.
I can't possibly comment on that.
Well, I'll show you him.
No, it's not. I don't. I'm not saying I disagree. I just don't want to get sued.
Should I not have said that? But I think he's got the persona.
Oh, a very talented man. I mean,
I don't know if he's actually that kind of rude, but he's got the persona.
Yeah, I mean,
He's got the persona
he's
down.
made
Yeah.
that kind of formula, if you see what I mean, and can't take it away from him. You know,
Yeah.
The show without Simon would
Not
have been
exactly.
the show almost.
Yeah. Very interesting.
And, whether you like it or not, that's the whole point. It was very much based around him.
And it's very much based around, will he like you? And if he doesn't, will you prove him wrong?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the show, is proving Simon wrong if he doesn't like you. Yeah, that's true. Interesting. Does he live here or in America?
I have no idea. Never met the man. He probably has houses all over the place.
How did he even start? Like, how did he end up? Does he sing? What's given him the thing to judge people?
I don't know. Maybe
was he an actor?
Maybe he just literally came up with a formula.
Isn't that how weird that we don't know?
Maybe he was a talent scout. I don't know.
Oh, maybe I should look him up. See how the hell did he? What gives him the qualification to judge?
He clearly persuaded some television producer that this was a good idea, and he was right to do so because it was a bloody good idea, and has never ever looked back.
Because he's not a singer, because sometimes they'll have like singers there, so obviously they have more criteria to judge singing. But what's his... Oh, maybe I should look him up, see what Simon... what his credentials
are.
Yeah, what are his credentials?
Well, at the end of the day, he may not have any. He just simply was the man who came up with the idea, and nothing wrong with that. Anyway, we're kind of meandering backwards and forwards a little bit.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm just trying to Google it very quickly. English television personality, entrepreneur, and record executive. Oh yeah, he's also got all the. Yeah, he's signed all the people.
Yeah. That was the whole point. That if you went on those programs,
he'd sign you.
You would then almost belong to his company.
Pop Idol, X Factor, Britain's Got Talent, American Idol, X Factor US, America's Got Talent, X Factor Israel.
And so it goes on. I'm not sure listeners really want to...
Chief Executive in British Entertainment Company. So, I don't know. He's got, after some success in the 1980s and 90s as a record producer, talent scout and consultant.
Okay, so he was a producer.
So that's what he did then. Right, I'm not going to read the whole... But that's what his beginning was, basically.
Yeah.
A scout. And
so
record.
He was working in the area and essentially televised what he was doing, and great idea.
Well, there we go. So maybe we should become Simon Cowell.
Well, no, but you don't want to be Simon Cowell. What you want to do is to be your own performer.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, you didn't... I don't think you really quite explained, though.
What?
Why you wanted...
To be a vet?
No, we've gone vet. We've done vet. Go, leave the vets alone.
Psychiatrist?
No, why you really wanted... The point is that... music...
I like music. It inspires
me. But that doesn't
necessarily... I like all elements of it.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that translates in you being a composer and a performer.
Well, I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure out what it is. I know I want to sing, but I also like the whole kind of area of like learning about it, or like learning new things, writing, how it comes together. Like, I enjoy all the elements of it. So we'll see where I fit in. I don't bloody know if I knew.
Yeah. So, okay, this was a revelation to me. I thought you had actually decided that you wanted to be a singer-songwriter.
Yeah. But that also doesn't mean I can't explore other options. I might end up teaching. I don't know. And creating at the same time. Like, I feel like I like all of the sides of it.
Right.
So far.
So it's evolving.
Yeah, I feel like I also need to grow up because I feel like I haven't. Well, I had my recitals, but I haven't performed by myself in so long that it just doesn't feel quite real yet.
But you're also trying to pursue a career at the most difficult time when, you know, people are not allowed to go to concerts. They're not allowed to.
Yeah. But even though I've booked my first concert.
Of which more later.
Yeah. Well, it's in a month.
I know.
Be there or be square.
Yes. Are you? Maybe you should tell people what the details are.
May 22nd. Go on my Instagram to figure it out.
Oh, okay.
And check the...
And how do people get into your Instagram?
My Instagram is at ellilave_. So that's ELLIELAVE_. That's,
right, okay.
Yeah.
And you just go into Instagram.
Yeah, they'll find the information.
But a lot of people don't have Instagram.
Well, if you don't have Instagram, get Instagram. I think it's sold out anyway. So maybe after that.
Yeah, okay.
There'll be more, don't worry.
Well, one would hope so.
There will be more.
Good. So on that note of self-promotion, we should probably end.
Yeah, follow us, subscribe, like, share it with your friends if you enjoy listening to us. Anything else?
And we'll see you on May the 22nd.
We'll see you next week. Possibly
at the gig.
Discussing the Yorkshire Ripper.
Yes, okay.
Maybe crime stuff. So look out for that. Peace and love. Talk to you next week.
Bye.